Hi, great to see you again. Welcome to Module 3, Teaching Technique. In this lecture video, we are going to talk about two pieces. The first is about the multimodalities in textualization cycle, which also we can call MEC model. And I already assigned a related reading to you in the pre-lecture reading session. I hope you have finished reading it, and you can also find that model on the page 103 in your pre-lecture reading. And second piece, we are going to talk about the application of the MEC model in our real life teaching practices. So this model, we are going to focus on talking about a lot about the teaching techniques we use in a clear context. In this lecture video, so here is the MEC model. And so the MEC model consists of three stages, which is the create a rich experiential context stage. And the second stage is engage students in reading and note taking. And the third stage is engage student in textualization or the experience that it gained from the second and first stages. So, from my view, I think the MEC model is more suitable for subjects like humanities and social studies, especially for some readings like long reading text. And um, this is the model which I frequently use in English subject and sometimes in history as well. So let's take a closer look at the first stage, create a rich experiential context. Actually, provides us a lot of example showing what does using multimodalities means. And multimodalities refers to different type of medias or resources that you use in your courses. So, for example, like images, videos, diagrams, they are all kind of modalities you can use in expressing your like the or showing the content that you would like to present to students. And here is an example. For example, like in one of the class when I talk about the Roman life in Romans, I use a video clip and also some images like 3D images to show what it may look like when like what the Romans life looked like at that point in time. However, here I would like to mention that if you would like to refer or use resources that are online, like existing video clip, it's recommended that you can adapt it and also maybe video clip it to adapt to your own teaching needs. You don't need to show the whole video sometimes because it will make students lose focuses on what they should learn. So my suggestion is that maybe you can adapt your video clip. And also we need to look for the videos that with high qualities. This is also another technique, like for videos that are with very poor quality, like the images are not clear and the tones are not understandable, it's recommended not to use it, or it will confuse very easily to confuse students whose second language is poor. And this is one of the examples that I would like to show it to you when I used MEC model, the first stages. And the second stages is says to engage students in reading and note taking making. So this like stages particularly refers to applying the teaching techniques like using bilingual notes or graphic organizers that we may use when applying the genre act model in the previous module, which some graphic organizers to present how the paragraph is structured may be used. And mind map is also one of the formats or that you can use in this stage. So here I would like to show you an example. And as you can see, like this on the left side, this is the original text in the textbook. And here are the notes that I create to support students understand the specific paragraph. For example, if I'm going to talk about this paragraph, like the gladiators fight, then here are the notes that I may include in my teaching process. First, I'm going to introduce what does that word, subject specific word mean in Chinese, because I assume that some of the students, their English is not that strong. So I would use their first language to explain the words to them to better support their understanding. And then I will going to introduce some like sentence structure, which um, here, as you can see, the third point, where a certain type of sentence structure is used to describing one's interest. And also I would like include some logic like flow to explanation to help them understand what this paragraph is about. And this also applies to the second paragraph. So these are the techniques I'm going to use while I support students learning in the second stage. And now we are going to look at the third stage in this MEC model, which is to engage students in textualization their experiences. So, based on what they have learned in the first two stages, they have understand the context, the learning context. They have some input about the language and the content. Now is also their time to output what they have learned in this class. So normally what I'm going to do is to co-construct the paragraph, like co-construct the paragraph with them again. So here's an example. The left side is the original text, which is similar to the previous, like this one um, here, and the right hand side is what that's student and I we rewrite together. So at this point, it is a good practice for those English learners to learn how to construct or combine the content together and to produce a certain of like long sentence they need to master when they goes to higher grade. So for example, here, instead of like keeping the subtitle in the original text, here we can use this long sentence patterns. Excuse me. Yeah, excuse me. Going to use maybe line here to show. um, Instead of keeping the subtitle in the original text, we actually can use a long sentence to express what the content, what we would like to say, like using the which can be clause sentence to express that it's about the town planning. And also here is a sentence that we can add to the original text to make the meaning more explicit. And like for example, to giving examples and stuff like that. And we can like do like the similar practices, like ask the students to paraphrase the text that they read in the original textbook. So this is and one of the examples that you can help students to engage in textualizing the experience they have learned. And at this stage, maybe you can also use the template, which is also another tool that technique I found is really useful when the learning goal is to help students to write certain a long paragraph, a long passage. So these are the tools and techniques I found really useful in the Clio context. So this is all about the Module 3 lecture video. I hope you enjoy it, and hope you learn some teaching techniques that you can apply to your own teaching settings. and see you in next module.